confused.
My name is Frank Cho, and you're listening to Something Super Podcast.
Yes, so
Same.
I'm beat. Yeah, last night when you texted me, you're like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do it." I was like, "That's actually not a bad thing. I'm fucking tired."
Yeah, so my sister had her dog for like 15 years. Her dog died on Thursday, Thursday night. But then we just found out now that she's pregnant again with her second kid. So we're like, okay, so like good and bad. Little Padme and Anakin situation going on.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's just we were running all over today.
I feel that. That's family shit, man. We did a brunch at our house, like we hosted her family, and then we went to my cousin's house.
That's cool.
Long fucking day, dude. We've been up since like 7 this morning. I don't even have kids yet. Like, I don't want to be up early. Like, I don't want to fucking do this shit.
I want to sleep in while I can.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I can't wait for those 7 weeks off. It's not going to be great, but. All right. All right, cool. So we'll do Moon Knight second then. All right. So we're going to start recording in 5, 4. All right, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Something Super Podcast. I'm Steve.
I'm Mark.
And guys, because it's Sunday, Easter Sunday, we're happy Easter to everyone, whether you celebrate it or not. Hopefully you guys had a fantastic weekend. This is going to be a special Sunday edition episode. And obviously we're going to go back to our regularly scheduled programming this coming Friday. So Mark and I wanted to do this episode on the FanExpo that was based out of Philadelphia last week, which is why we didn't post on Friday, because we were there live in person doing some interviews that you guys are going to hear. We had some fantastic people, artists, actors and actresses that we met. We met with the Army gaming team. We had an awesome time. I mean, 10 out of 10, probably would do it again. And this is going to be our episode covering all the stuff that we saw while we were there. So, Mark, let's start it off.
So for me, I think one of the biggest high points for me for it was just obviously number one, it was local. Like we did the Baltimore Comic-Con, and I mean, I feel like it was more organized as far as the layout. Like it was easier to find what you were looking for. I feel like there was a lot of times we were just running laps at the Baltimore one trying to find a certain vendor. Where this one we were like
fucking weird.
Yeah, where here we were just like, oh, go up one aisle, left 2, and you're there. But I mean, yeah, it was just really cool. There was, getting to see Ron Perlman, David Tennant,
Ming-Na
Wen. Fuck the guy that stopped us from seeing Shatner. But we just wanted to say hi. You need a ticket. I need a ticket to say hello. Like, come on.
Yeah. We met Brett Iwan, who is the current voice of Mickey Mouse. He's an artist for Disney as well.
Ashley Eckstein.
Like, she is phenomenal. Like, one of the nicest people I've ever met in my entire life, hands down. She signed the Ahsoka Tano lightsabers that I got in Disney. Like, sweetest person ever. Her husband's awesome. Jesus, who else did we see there? Carl Weathers was there. The entire
Kate Flanagan.
Kate Flanagan, the cast of Clerks. Although Kevin Smith had his whole shroud of darkness.
Yeah, he was under wraps, man.
Yeah, he was tough. But
there was something interesting though that happened during David Tennant's what's the word I'm looking for?
His
panel.
Q&A.
During his panel, there was something interesting that he said that it felt like he kind of brushed off and just kind of kept going. So I forget what the question was exactly, but he kept making jokes about how he's like Scrooge McDuck. And he's like, yeah, I love voice animation. Like, you can do this. He goes, now there is something in the works that's super top secret and I can't talk about it. And he just kind of kept going. And it was during the last question when somebody brought up Jessica Jones.
Kilgrave.
Yeah. Someone brought up Kilgrave, and that's when he said it. And then he just kind of kept going. And a lot of the questions around Kilgrave, he was like, well, what do you think they would do? And he was like having the fans answer their own. So I'm wondering if we've already seen Kingpin come over. Mm-hmm. We've seen, now in Morbius that, what's his name? Michael Keaton Vulture jumped over to their universe. Could we get Kilgrave back? Could we possibly get Carnage back? Like, I'm wondering if these are all things that could be in the cards now that those Netflix shows are Disney properties, technically.
I'm actually genuinely curious about that as well. So I think that would be awesome. I love David Tennant's character in Jessica Jones. I think Jessica Jones, first of all, is like an underrated show. If you haven't watched it, take a little bit of time and check it out.
He was one of my favorite villains. Like, if you take
Absolutely.
everything Marvel, he's up there. He's one of my favorite villains. Like,
his power is just unmatched. Like, he has the power of like undeniable persuasion.
He's a walking Jedi mind trick.
Yes. And he's deadly. So although the one thing I did like that he alluded to was it works on humans. So like, because he played Doctor Who. He said technically Kilgrave's powers wouldn't work on him because he is not like of the human race.
Right. But there are still Bruce Banner is a human.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like in Marvel,
like he could, and in the comics, I'm pretty sure he is like an Avenger level threat. I forget what his real name, the Purple Man, I think they call him, or something like that in
like
Marvel,
the Man
or
in Purple or something like
the
that.
Man, it's something along those lines. Yeah. But even still, and we're getting ready to get the X-Men. Like, that would be a strong character to have in an X-Men universe.
Absolutely. I think it would be super cool to bring that in. Some other things that we saw there is some fantastic cosplay characters. Like, bravo to these people that dedicate and devote their time to building these amazing costumes. Like, 10 out of 10. I would sit there and watch those shows all day. Like, I really do applaud these people for getting out there, getting out of the comfort zone, doing something, whether it's, a fully built, like, screen accurate character. Yeah, like the Mysterio suit. Like, if you're a screen accurate character, that's awesome. If you do your own spin on it, that's even cooler. Like, I love this kind of stuff. I love seeing that kind of stuff. I don't even know where to begin if I even wanted to start that, but like, good for you. Like, I love it. We saw a Jedi Academy at the one performance stage where they had a bunch of kids in the crowd with lightsabers, which was awesome.
It was a good thing Anakin wasn't there.
Yeah, I know. So many younglings. They had everything. They had stuff for kids, they had stuff for adults, they had for everything in between. Like, they had you pointed it out, actually. It was the what was it, the box sports? It was just cardboard boxes.
It was literally just a section of empty cardboard boxes for you to take your kids so they can like build forts and shit.
Like, that's cool. That's awesome. I love the ideas of that. Like, there was stuff that was engaging for everyone. There was a video game section that was, again, hosted by the Army. We actually have that interview, and we'll post that up here with this episode. And it was just so many cool things that were going on there. They had a whole artists alley of people that have been, previous and current artists for Marvel and DC. And, we met with a bunch of different people, and just, whether it was an interview or just a quick conversation. These guys are wealths of knowledge, and whether it was,
and humble.
Oh my God. They're so
very,
nice.
Very humble.
Yeah. I can't think of a single one that didn't want to like even sit down and just have a 5-minute conversation with us, and just great people all around. And we do have some sound bites from some of them. Again, we'll be posting it with the episode. So, keep a listening for that.
Like Frank Cho, like, I didn't realize he was going to talk to us as much as he did. And because he just seemed busy, and I really feel like if we would have asked him, we probably could have interviewed him.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
and if we see him in the future, obviously stop back and say hi.
Like, they're just literally, the one artist literally asked us, like, hey, do you want an interview? Like, we were just walking around with microphones in our hand. Like, we weren't even like begging or anything like that. We were just like standing there watching him draw, and he was like, you want an interview while I'm doing it? We were like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we're jumping to that kind of stuff. I will tell you what, I almost walked out immediately upon walking in, strictly because the first person in costume that I saw was Captain Marvel holding a Mjolnir, and I was like, nope, I'm out. Okay, I'm gone, dude. I'm gone. I don't want this. We're gonna fight her later. But no,
How
seriously, like
dare you?
it was so much fun. Like I actually had a really good time. I thought it was interesting. Again, the event itself was wild. It was crazy. It was a little chaotic at times. You know, the lines got to be a little long. I think we waited to meet Ashley Eckstein for an hour ish. But you know what? There's definitely something about like waiting in those lines and being with those like true super fans that really does make for that time. Like I met a bunch of people in line that I became friends with, and you know, we talked Disney and we talked Star Wars and we talked Marvel and the future of all these shows and movies, and like it was just super cool. So if you saw us there, you know, give us a shout on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. We'd love to catch up with you guys. And I mean, Mark, let's talk. What was your favorite part?
Honestly, probably my favorite part. It's gonna sound like a cop out, but honestly, just being there, like that atmosphere is like nothing else. Like when you're just with people, like you said, that you can just talk to anybody about comics, about movies, about anything. Like I heard two people literally like having a debate about their favorite like music in a movie. Like the fact that they're on that type of descriptive level with like the passion that they have for these things, and like you said, like the cosplayers, like that's their world. And it's just a nice little escape from like the monotonous reality that we live in, where we're just wake up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, do some cleaning, do some laundry, go to bed, wake up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, do laundry, get like just such a nice change to where it's like, hey, for a split moment, like these characters are real. Like we got to meet Sean Schemmel, who voices Goku, and like I didn't even know what to say to him. I'm a 31-year-old man who's dumbfounded when he meets a childhood voice actor who like had such an impact on my life. Like Dragon Ball Z was my show. Like Larry Jackie Chan Adventures, Dragon Ball Z, and Pokemon were like, if it was on, I was watching it, and I was watching it right when it came on. I had my bowl of cereal on the living room floor in front of the TV on Saturday mornings, turning on Kids WB to catch both of those. I was coming home in middle school after wrestling practice. I was turning on Cartoon Network or Toonami, whatever it was at that time, and I was watching Dragon Ball Z. Like, and I just didn't know what to say to him. I was like, I really appreciate everything you do. And then walking away, I'm like, damn it. Like,
He was funny though. So like he again one of those people that was just like super down to earth and like would have done anything if we had asked him with well within his rights. So
yeah,
we had asked him to do just like a quick intro for the episode. Like if you guys noticed, this episode is Frank Cho in the beginning. Um he was like, yeah, Sony yells at me for that kind of stuff. And like, you know what? Like it's cool. You gave it, you know, you would have done it had you had the opportunity, whatever. It just again, super nice guy. And everyone that we met there, I think, given the opportunity or the time, like I know Ashley Eckstein was like a
crazy
million people
busy.
deep. Ming Na Wen was a million people deep. Anyone that was like any big name had hundreds and hundreds of people waiting for them. So like we weren't going to take up too much of their time, but you know, it was super cool to meet these people and you know, get a face to face with them and just say hi. You know, as someone who's been a Star Wars fan or a Disney fan for my entire life, meeting a lot of these people live action face to face and having even a 5-minute conversation made that entire trip worth it. Like it was worth every dollar I spent on a ticket.
Right. And I mean, I don't think I even have to ask you, but I will. But like, what was your favorite part?
I had a couple different favorite parts. So obviously meeting Ashley was definitely number one overall, just because of the interaction itself. But I think if I had to pick something besides that, it was probably seeing the kids there. So like the next generation of people that are going to be us one day. Like that is phenomenal. I wish I had someone like myself to sort of like guide me through that kind of stuff when I was younger, because I know you know, you and I grew up in the 90s.
Right.
And like if you liked comic books in like elementary and middle school, you're like a nerdy kid. Like Pokemon was like cool because it was cool, and then until it wasn't, and like you weren't cool if you played Pokemon anymore. You're a weird kid. And now it's like
It's
I'm
coming
reliving
back around.
exactly. I'm reliving all that stuff that I had as a kid, and I'm like, you know what? No, like this was fucking cool, and it's still cool, and I don't give a shit what anyone thinks now because I'm a 31-year-old man, and fuck you. That's why, and that's where we're at. And I nah, I'm all about that shit. So like, I'm here for it. I think that the next generation is going to be that much better because they're, we got all this technology out now where like, I mean, I saw some kids in the Moon Knight costumes and shit, like the glowing eyes and the staff and like this, that, and the other, like, holy shit. The shit that they
Right.
had, I was like, fuck, man, like, I wish I was that kid.
We had like the plastic mask that covered half your face.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was shit. It was a shit mess. Let's call it what it is, man. Like, but the cloth suit, like this kid had a fucking like screen accurate Moon Knight costume. I was like, fucking A, man, this is awesome. But yeah, like I love that concept, like going in there with your friends, your family, whatever. Like I said, I would love to learn how to do it. So if anyone out there wants to teach me, fucking message us. I will gladly accept all of your help.
Yeah, like honestly, it's crazy too. And like even the people that like don't have that great of a like, costume, like you're still putting something together and doing it, man. Like
Absolutely. And
like power to you.
Oh, definitely. And it's the artists that we saw there, whether it was like physical art, like a drawing or a painting or a digital piece of art, or we saw like cutting boards, we saw coasters, we saw like glass etchings and this, and like everyone there had their own little niche thing. And I love that. There was so much stuff to look at. And I'm not going to lie, I would be dead broke if I bought everything I wanted to buy. Let's just call it what it is. Like I had to put a limit on myself.
And like that's the other thing too, is like on Artist Alley, like when they're not like signing stuff, literally they're just sitting, like you just sit there and watch them just sketching like outlines of characters. Like and they did what they do. They sit there with a notepad and they just sketch and then they finish it, they rip the page off, they put the page down, like start a new character. And it's like they do in like 30 seconds too. It's like it's wild how fast these people can draw. And I'm like, dude, like just to do one like page of a comic book that had like 3 panels, it would take me like 4 months.
Oh, definitely. So
But
yeah, I'm definitely ready.
yeah, like I definitely would do it again. And I'm definitely going to keep my eye out for like more cons in the area and try to go
Yeah.
to as many of them as we can. Because like I forget the actor's name, but like there was an actor from Supernatural that was there just walking around in the crowd apparently. And he was just like,
Oh, yes, he was so I can't remember his name, but if you guys ever watch the show Magicians, he is the headmaster of the school. And he's apparently like the principal in Supernatural. So like again, don't know the actor's name, but apparently he was walking around. I recognized him the second I saw his picture from Magicians. So again, and like people like that, like you are technically a famous person. You
Rick
could be on a
Worthy.
panel. Okay. So you could be on a panel and you're just walking around hanging out with the people that watch you. Like that's so cool. I would be that person. I wouldn't want you to I'd sign everything. Surround me.
And
Let's all hang out.
yeah, and like you also see like you hear all the horror stories of like people meeting actors and how they're this, they're that. But then like you see people like I can't think of the actress's name, but she played Miss McMurray. Like
Oh,
during her
yes.
panel, like her kid was running around and she was like trying to control her son. And then like he walks off stage and then walks like behind the curtain. All he hears is like a giant crash. It's like it's just it's the it brings them back and like you remind you like these are just regular people. They're not these like gods and goddesses we see in the shows and in the movies. They're just regular people. Like William Shatner came out and took like 10 steps and sat down. He was like out of breath. I was like, dude, like you went to space. Like
Yeah, you are one of the most recognized people at this entire Comic Con. Like Mark said, they wouldn't even let us past that. Like they wouldn't let us within 100 feet of them. It was like a fucking
like
restraining order.
he didn't even have a line. And we were just gonna walk up, just say hello and walk away. And they were like, yeah, you need a ticket. We were like, what? Like he's right there. They're like, yeah, you need a ticket. I was like, yeah, okay. But yet other people like Sean Schemmel and Brett Iwan, like we just walked up to them. We are like, yeah, like we just want to meet these people. They're like, oh, go ahead. Like you're cool. We're like, all right.
Yeah, and again, it couldn't be nicer. Honestly, every one of them would absolutely meet them again. Like given the opportunity, I completely forgot my Brett Iwan like designed hoodie. I was gonna bring that so he could sign it, but like the whole thing with the con. It was a fucking shitstorm the morning of, so I completely forgot it. I wanted him to sign it, whatever. But again, he let me walk up and just say, hey, I'm a huge Disney fan. I'm a huge fan of you. Like, you hold a position that only like 3 other people in history, one of them being Walt Disney, has held. That's like iconic, dude. You are like one of the most recognized characters on the fucking face of the earth. Why are people not lining up to fucking see? Like, it's just wild. But yeah, to me, it's, one of those things where I was in nerd heaven, and that's the kind of shit that like got us started in this podcast.
Yeah, it really like takes us back to our roots. Like, we were chomping at the bit to get interviews and like meet the people. Like, we were 10-year-olds again.
Absolutely.
And that's the biggest thing. Like I always say with music is like, if a musician can draw emotion, that's when they have their strongest performance. And like, that's what these things are. Like, they just pull the emotion out of you and make you a little kid again. Like,
I completely felt like a child the entire time. Like, I was fucking sweating getting ready to meet Ahsoka Tano. Like, 100% was like having a fucking panic attack. But yeah, like that's just it. That, like you said, it brought me back to my childhood. It brought me back to like when I was a kid watching these shows. Like, I mean, name a fucking kid that didn't pick up a stick and try to have like a lightsaber fight. Like, we all did that shit. If you're a fucking Star Wars fan, you beat the shit out of each other with sticks. Or you had those like shitty plastic lightsabers that folded in on themselves and you fucked each other up. It was a good time.
yeah. And like, if you're someone who goes to the cons, like, let us know when some are coming up and meet up with us
Absolutely.
there. We had a couple of people come up that recognize us and just say what's up. Like, we're more than happy to talk with you guys and, interact with you guys and learn about you guys. And if you're people that don't go, like, I just recommend it. Just give it a shot. I'm telling you right now, like, it's really cool. Worst comes to worst, you just watch a panel with a bunch of celebrities where they just answer questions. Like, you had Ron, and it's not always just comic books. Like, you had Ron Perlman and Theo Rossi from Sons of Anarchy. I mean, Ron Perlman was also Hellboy. You had, like I said, like Miss McMurray from Letterkenny.
Yeah.
Like, you had, I'm blanking on her name. I said it earlier, but she played Meredith on The Office. Like, she was there and she had a panel, and like, just hearing them talk about the work they do and how much pride they take in it, like, it's just inspiring.
Yep. Oh, dude, definitely. Again, one of the coolest experiences. Like, I'm looking forward to it. Mark, I actually have a bunch of Comic-Con things saved on my phone, so I'll send you all the stuff for it. There's a bunch of stuff coming up near us within the next few months, so you're definitely going to have to buckle down and get our shit together. But yeah, I mean, guys, so right now, as far as this episode goes, we wanted to keep it kind of short and sweet, give you a quick overview. So unless you have anything else for them, I guess this is time where we're going to have the interview that we had with the Army gaming team. And so, guys, give that a listen.
We're here at FanExpo, and we're with
Sergeant First Class Christopher Jones, the non-commissioned officer in charge of U.S. Army Esports.
Awesome. So you guys heard that correctly. The Army has esports, so if you're thinking about joining a branch of the military, that might be your choice. And as a Marine, I am saying, go with the Army. Just go join the esports team. So, what is your game of choice?
So mine is World of Warcraft.
Okay.
Since vanilla, 15 years in.
That's awesome. So, how long have you been in the Army?
In June will be 19 years.
Okay. So, for your entire Army career, you have been playing World of Warcraft then?
No, well, yes, technically.
Technically speaking.
Obviously,
Not professionally, but technically, yes.
Right, yeah, definitely. Like, obviously, it came out after I joined the Army, because I came in June 17th, 2003.
Okay.
So, I was in Germany. That was my first duty assignment. I was playing Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth. It's an RTS. It's a phenomenal game if you could buy the discs. For some reason, you can't get it digital anymore. Showing my age a little bit. But I was hanging out with my buddies, was talking about that game. He was like, you know what? If you like that, you're probably like this game called World of Warcraft. And obviously, he set me down a path that has never stopped ever since.
Yeah, 15 years later.
Right.
So, besides that, do you play any other games competitively?
No. So I'm mostly in charge of the organization.
Okay.
So I used to do a lot of raiding. Obviously, and that's like a second job. If anyone that's ever played World of Warcraft wanted to push hard raiding, obviously it used to be heroic raiding back in the day, then it turned into mythic raiding and things like that. That's a whole nother job. Like, you get off your job to go to your job. Making sure that you have enough pots, you have all your food, you have all your stuff, you did all your grinds, your rep grinds, all that fun stuff. So that's always been my game. That's where my gamer tag comes from, Goran, because that's my elemental shaman that I've had for a majority of my time. Me and my wife both play it. So like this part was, it's me understanding the esports industry as far as what it looks like, especially to somebody that's not endemic or is not a gamer, right? Doesn't ever see it or engage with it, especially in an organization like the United States Army, right? So that's kind of where I came in.
Okay, so my big question as a military veteran, how does the esports team work into your day-to-day life?
So this program, if you can imagine, if you ever heard of the U.S. Army Golden Knights parachute team.
Yes.
And we also have the Army marksmanship unit.
Okay.
Same thing. So those were made in the 1950s. So if you can imagine a 21st century version, but probably be esports.
Absolutely.
Every branch of service, as you know, has intramural sports. So this is not outside the realm of normalcy. It's just kind of shocking because it feels a little more ahead of the time.
Yeah.
But that our organization is a community. It's about 18,000 in our Discord right now. That's active duty, Army Reserve, Army National Guard.
Okay.
We have about 200 competitors across 15 different titles.
That's awesome.
We have volunteers that help manage those titles. Because obviously, as a 13-person team that's full-time doing it, we wouldn't be able to manage that. But we didn't want to leave soldiers out of being able to compete on behalf of the Army. Because as soon as we opened that gate of sending out an email saying, hey, looking for more for the United States Army esports, obviously a whole lot of them were like, haha, that's funny, and deleted it because they didn't even think it was a real thing.
Right.
But then all of a sudden, 7,000 show up and they're like, I want to do it. Right? And now you have to break it out. Okay, now we have an Overwatch team. Okay, now we have a World of Warcraft MDI team. Now we have this team. And luckily at the time, I was, you can call me the idiot that pitched the idea. It took me a couple of years, and I finally got, Commanding General Major General Frank Muth, who saw it, and that was around the same time that the Fortnite World Cup had happened, and obviously Booga won all that money. And they kind of put two and two together and were like, wow, we should be doing this.
Yeah.
Gave me a call while I was working, said, hey, we're gonna make U.S. Army esports, you're gonna be in charge of it, you're coming to Fort Knox. I just kind of, but obviously my jaw's on the floor, I'm just like, Roger? Right? 45 days later, I show up, and then, hey, it's time to put together a team.
That's awesome.
Luckily, I have an amazing group of soldiers that I was able to, bring into the program and help me shape it into what it is now.
That's so cool. So you are essentially the grandfather of Army esports then?
Something like that, yeah.
So you sound like you're a PC gamer. If you had to pick like one of your favorite, like across all time consoles, it could be
Nintendo 64.
There we go.
Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
Hands down. Forever until the end of
I
time.
like that I wasn't even able to finish my question. He already knew. He's like, this is it. It's not changing. I know what I want.
Yeah.
Were you a GoldenEye player?
Oh, yeah. Proximity mines only. Get super toxic.
So now I know with certain other things, you need to have certain PT scores and, you need to uphold a level of excellency, I guess, in the military. Is that the same for the esports team?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So nothing as a soldier changes. The cool thing about this is just like those organizations, all these soldiers come from different career fields. So I have field artillery, IT, medical, infantry. I had a special forces guy on my team.
That's awesome.
Because here's the thing, right? Because part of the reason this team exists, majority of people might think that, oh my gosh, you served in the military. Oh, well then that means you obviously don't like these things. Gaming, anime, comics, insert all these things. Well, that guy played competitive Halo in the MLG days. Halo 3 came out, his favorite thing to say is, I sucked at it, so I joined the Army. Then he ends up becoming a part of the Ranger Regiment, and then became Special Forces. So you can't ever tell me that we can't like what we like.
Sure.
So, it's in, like I said, that same concept, that's what birthed this. So all these soldiers come from all kinds of different walks of life. They all chose different career fields, not even knowing this was a thing, because it wasn't.
Yeah.
And when you bring them all together, you would think they all had the same job.
Absolutely.
Because they're almost like the same person.
Well, that's the thing. Like you said, it's very similar to anything else, whether it's an intramural sport or a specialty team. You guys are working as a unit.
Yep.
So that's awesome. I think that is huge. You know, I don't know if you have anything as far as like plugs for the Army, you know, things like that you want to shout out to any of our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. So every social media is at U.S. Army Esports in one word. We have our own Discord server. We stream on Twitch. We stream on YouTube. And a lot of these fan expos and other different events, you can come see us and try to beat us.
All right, awesome. Well, guys, that's all we've got from here from the U.S. Army Esports team. Again, I'm Steve.
Mark.
I'm going to catch you guys next week.